Satan and his little minions did not want me to go live tonight. I have been at this since 7:45. My apologies. I'm usually on time. When I say 8, I said 8. And I've been up here trying to toggle this, toggle that. Please excuse my tardiness. It will not happen again if I can help it. Welcome, butterflies. Welcome back. I'm sorry. Let's start this over. Hello, butterflies, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It, The Becoming. If you are a new butterfly here, hi, my name is Andresia. I just want to let you know this is a safe space. Here, we're going to have real conversations, focus on healing, growing, and glowing. Now, today's topic is about relationship over religion. Unlearning religion so that you could have a relationship with God. Let me say it again. Unlearning religion so you can have a relationship with God, aka what it means to know God. Now, I want a lot of you to understand that God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. While man looks at the external, God only examines the internal. So if this is going to be a conversation that you can resonate with or with another butterfly, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and subscribe and share it with the other butterfly and comment below. Now, we're going to go ahead and let's talk about it. And before we get started, I should have said it already. I'm sorry, my mind is somewhere else. Let me tell y'all, trying to get into this live, I have been like, woohoo, everywhere. So excuse my mind process. I told you at the beginning I had ADHD before in our first live. So, and I haven't taken my medication. So, but we're going to go ahead and start talking about relationship over religion. Now, since a lot of people that are in religion like to quote the Bible, a lot of my quotes when I'm speaking about something, I will refer back to the Bible. So I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Like I said, God looks at the internal while man looks at the external. If you look at Samuel, pull up my little phone. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7, it states, God tells the prophet Samuel not to judge by outward appearance when choosing Israel's next king. What he was saying was that, because that story is with when Samuel the prophet went to Jesse's home to anoint somebody as king over Israel because Saul had fallen out of favor with God. And so when Jesse was presenting who he thought was going to be king, he presented one of his sons. And he presented that son because that son looked sharp on the outside, but his heart and the inside, God knew his heart. And he said, no, that's not going to be it. So I want to let you guys know that when it comes to religion, religion is the one that creates dress codes. Religion are the ones who say that you have to wear this, you have to do that. Relationship, God says, come as you are. And you know, the crazy thing about dress codes in churches these days is that we was born in this world all completely naked. None of us had clothes on. So we go to these churches to basically be judged. They're preaching full sermons about what somebody's wearing. I've seen sermons where they talk about a man wearing a satchel, or AKA nowadays a man purse. I've seen them where they're talking about girls wearing their dresses too short. Basically, you know, everything but what God is looking for, which is the inner appearance. I'm talking about relationships over religion. That's what the topic is about, Romello. So when it comes to having a relationship with God, he knows you, he sees you, and he's not profiling what you chose to get up and listen to and wear and think about. He's not doing all that. Only religion does that. Because let me tell y'all something. You can be fully dressed, fully covered, and still have an evil heart. You can have on a modest outfit and still carry hate. And you can have on a form-fitting dress and still surrender your heart to the Lord. Y'all got to stop allowing religion to tell you what you're supposed to look like. Because you're not supposed to physically look like anything, but internally look like everything. You know, somewhere along the way, people decided that, I'm sorry, not people, people of the religion decided that when you start to follow God, that you're supposed to forget that you're human. I want y'all to understand this. Those people that be in the pulpit, that be preaching, they are man. And that's their job. Just like you have a job, you got doctors, you got lawyers, you got preachers, you got teachers. That's jobs. Y'all be glorifying religion, but really demanding the religion instead of the relationship. And I just can't get that because it's pulling so much away from what it's really about. It's like, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm still rattled from earlier today from me trying to get this lie together. Can't get my thoughts together. Usually I'll be on this. But basically, if it's about our outer, about what we're not doing correctly, then why is the Bible full of sinners? Why is the Bible full of messy stories? And why is the Bible full of real testimonies? Let me tell you something right now. Jesus didn't come for the just. He came from the unjust. You don't go to a hospital to get healed if you're already healed. You go when you're sick. That's what Jesus comes for. He comes for the sick and souls. But he's not looking at what you're doing. He's not looking at who you are right now. He's looking at who can I transfer her to be, him to be. Who do I need them to be? What is the calling on their life? What can I do so they can get back on the right path? See, where religion will pull you away from all that. Religion will have you thinking that God don't love you unless you get up and go to church every morning. Religion would have you thinking that you can't wear a certain outfit, aka Pastor Brian's wife, because you're supposed to be the first lady. Baby, if you are focused on what somebody got versus what their heart is, then you're already in the wrong place. You know what I've learned? Some of the most religious people are the most evilest people I've ever met in my life. They're full of hatred. They're full of judgment. How are y'all the same very people that's protesting God and saying that you love as he loved, but really you don't? Jesus said in the Bible, their lips may confess that they love me, but their hearts say otherwise. Their hearts are very far from me. They're nowhere close to me. Religion, especially now I'm 37, religion has pulled so many people away from their calling, from God, from who they're supposed to be. It was never about, say this very carefully, it was never really about the church. Because if you understand who God is, you understand the church is everywhere he is, which is everywhere. It was always about your soul, your spirit, to come down here, do what you're supposed to do, and then go back. But we have abused that because religion is really, let's call it what it is, it's control. When Jesus was here, you had the Pharisees, and they was only proclaiming the law. And really, it was man-made laws. And they cared more about the man-made laws and the control and the evil and the wickedness and the greed than they care about souls being saved. They claimed they wanted to enforce Moses' law, but really it was about control, and that's what religion is. Some of y'all be mad when I say this, but a lot of y'all like Joel Osteen, but my spirit says he's evil. My spirit says that it's just something about that man that don't sit right in my spirit. And anybody can preach the name of God. Anybody can preach in the name of God. Anybody. I mean, anybody. But when your soul ain't right, your spirit is not right, you could feel it. Let me tell you, religion came into play when that flood happened in Houston, Texas. And the church is big enough to house all those people. And he said no. If he had a relationship with God, his heart would have said yes. But because he's focused on religion and he's more in the flesh, he said no. Because that church is really a business. We can't have all these people in here. This ain't a hotel. This ain't Super 8. We don't keep the light on. It's Motel 6 or something like that. We don't keep the light on here. They can't come. I'm doing this for a check. This is a job. I don't even believe half the stuff I really say. People will get up every day and go follow religion. Yes, I do believe in God, and I can speak about God, and everybody's not going to understand this because not everybody is not of God. They're more of religion than they are of God. And then people like that like to question you. I believe in God very much. I follow God. I have a relationship. I've had a calling on my life since I was a child. When I was sleepwalking into different spiritual realms, when I was having vivid dreams, when the Spirit came to me a long time ago, I was basically Jonah running from my calling. So you can't ask me, do I believe in God without knowing who I am is my story. Right now, I'm just a girl on the internet to you, letting you know that relationship is more important than religion. But some of us has been brainwashed so much and marinated in the religion that we can't see the relationship. We can't see who God is trying to call us to be. That's why it is very important for you to unlearn religion just to learn relationship. Because relationship is truth. And if you unlearn religion, you will see what God truly meant. See, I don't have to feel no type of way towards anybody who don't understand this, because the right spirits will be guided here. The right spirits will be transformed. I'm a living testimony of what God can do through somebody who has a relationship and don't focus on religion. When I had my spiritual awakening, I got up and left the church, because a lot of people like to think that the church is somewhere you're supposed to stay for forever, when the church is only basically a hospital. You go there, you get healed, and you leave back out, and you go get 10 to 3, you go get 3 or 4 more people or 10 more people, and you bring them back so they can get healed, and then y'all go back out in the world and you bring them more, and it's a revolving door. It was never meant for you to stay. But people get these positions in church and focus more on religion that they forget who God is. People put these pastors on these pedestals and worship the man and not the creator. I remember one time I was cursing, and this lady said, "Oh, girl, don't say that, they're gonna pastor." And I remember I said, "Who the F is the pastor?" But merely a man, flesh just like me. Who is he? Please let me know. Because if he was God himself, then I would be convicted. But I see past the rose-colored glasses that he bleeds just like me and you. And some of us that come into the calling really do mean well, but the way of the world, if your flesh, you have to be careful. If your flesh is not strong enough, you would be condemned into the way of the world, and you would start acting as the way of the world. See, it says right here, and let me go ahead and tell y'all real quick. It says right here, what's that scripture? Because I wrote it down, baby. Matthew 7:16. You will know the false prophets by their fruits. By the fruits that they bear. Meaning by their behavior, by their character. Yeah, they can be in ministry, but does their ministry reflect who God is? See, let me tell y'all something right now. I broke this down right here. It says religion focuses on rules, demands performance, produces shame, guilt trip you, focus on traditions, looks at external righteousness and control. Religion says, look like this, dress like that, stay in your lane. Don't change. I'm sorry, not change. Don't challenge us and don't make us feel uncomfortable. While relationship with God looks at the heart so it can transform it. It allows growth. It produces fruit of the light of God. It creates freedom. It says it's already done. Relationship says you got to do this. Religion says you got to do this. Relationship, it says it's already done. Relationship will change you. God is saying, walk with me. And my favorite, if I am for you, who can be against you? That's what relationship is. It's compassion. It's truth. It's love. You will always know who has the relationship with God by their love, their patience, their kindness, their actions, their character, and my favorite, their surrender. A lot of y'all don't even surrender because it's about control. It's not about their title, their hemline, their position in the church, or their platform. Come on, somebody. Some of y'all gonna be upset with this lie, but it'll be all right. You can be a Christian and have a relationship. I'm speaking of religion. The Christianity is a religion. It's a title. I'm not focused on religion. God is not focused on your religion, because when Jesus was walking, the Pharisee was of Judaism, and Jesus wasn't against the Judaism because Jesus was a Jew himself. But what he was against, I wrote that down too. Let me see. I wrote it down right here. Let me go ahead and put it on to you real quick. I wrote so much stuff down, y'all. He was against basically them using the law instead of compassion. He was for truth to save your souls. They was for corruption. They was for greed. The Pharisees constantly challenged Jesus. Constantly. You know why? Because they was losing control of their people. They were this man comes and he's creating all these types of miracles and saying, I'm doing this in the name of my Father. And they was losing control of the Moses law, what they was teaching. That's what it was. And when they lose control, when the religion lose control, they start saying these things are not real. And since we've been marinated so much in religion that we don't know how to expand our minds to hear the truth. But you know what they say? It's not your fault what happens to you, but it is your responsibility to heal. It's not your fault what you was marinated in, but it is your fault. It is your responsibility to go out and seek the truth. Everything you hear, everything you see is not always the truth and what you actually seeing. But you know, the real danger with religion is the driving people away from God. That's the real danger. Because I'm gonna be honest, if I was a non-believer in God, not religion, God, the source, I don't need a buffer. I don't. But if I was a non-believer, the way a lot of people in religions act, I wouldn't want to be a believer. I wouldn't want to follow him. Because a lot of religious people are judgmental. If God sees your internal, why are you judging my external if it's written right there in the Bible? Then a lot of people like to post the Bible. The Bible said this, the Bible says that. But that's how I always know who's really focused on religion and relationship, because that's not even the full Bible. Because you don't understand religion's about control. They don't took out books of the Bible, baby. They don't revise that version. That's why the book you got at home, if it says King James Version, that means that's the version that they wanted to write and put in. That's the version of the Bible that they wanted you to know of. They wanted you to be marinated in. If that wasn't the case, why did they take out the book of Enoch? Why did they take out about Nephilims and all that? Why? And giants that exist, that still exist. Why? Because it's about control. I'm not taking you away from the church. I'm not taking you away from God's preaching. Teachings and his learnings. I'm taking you away from the control. Letting you know that you can have a relationship with God and be very successful and live in your calling and be human because he already forgave us for our sins. When these churches be calling people out that might be homosexual or drug addicts or prostitutes, what? How? When no sin is greater than another. I can go out there and kill somebody and you can tell a lie and our sin is greater. On earth it's not greater, but it's the same. On earth it's not the same, but in God's eyes it is. So that's why I said religion is dangerous. It's driving people away, because how are you the same people that confess that you love love God and are of him and you know, but you don't show anything of him. Your actions are not anything God like. People are too busy judging instead of praying. Policing people's bodies instead of their hearts. I see the higher version in people. I always say right now, if I ever got called to a pulpit, it wouldn't be in a church. No, sir, because church is wherever God is, and that's everywhere. And even Jesus didn't teach in the synagogues, baby. He went from city to city to teach the word. Religion makes you feel like you got to be in a church. It's surrounded by four walls. If that's the case, baby, my church is right here. I got four walls in here. With two or more gathered in his name, he's in the midst. Baby, I got me, my husband, and my kids. He is already here. Because I focus on relationship. You know what I love about the God that's in me, my higher self, is that when people meet me and they see me, first of all, before they even probably open my mouth, my spirit walks in first, which y'all like to call an aura. My aura is beautiful and it glows, and that walks in first. And then my flesh comes behind it. But people will say, you have a beautiful personality. Oh, you have a beautiful spirit. And I say, baby, that's not me. That's the God in me. Because if it was just up to me and my flesh, I wouldn't be like this. Because this world is... I don't say, that's the religion in me, baby. And, oh, girl, did you see her? She come talk to me. Some of y'all be so stuck up. I remember when I was with my bishop, when I was to live in North Carolina, he used to always call out people in church because he would hear things and then he'll talk about it on Sunday. He said, what is this I'm hearing that people talking about they got this my seat? Y'all ain't got no assigned seats. This God's seats. This God's house. Y'all in here being catty and stuff, acting like you all in here, all of the Lord, and falling all out, go outside and won't even say hey to your neighbor. Won't even show them no love and compassion. See, religion got y'all really judging people, and I don't like that. But I step back and I pray for you because I don't know what you've been marinated in. I don't know what you've been taught. I don't know your life story. So who am I to judge you? I am of God. I do have a relationship, so I pray for you. Today I was at Waffle House with my husband, and I'm an empath, so I can feel energies very, very heavy. And I was just talking to my husband, and I stopped. And he looked at me and said, what's wrong? I said, I feel like crying. He said, well, I said, it ain't me. It ain't of my tears. It's somebody in here that's very sad. They're grieving. Grieving don't mean just death. Grief can be a job, a man ghosted me, a relationship, a friendship. Grieving is grieving, but the heaviness of the spirit was real. And it was so real, I kept trying to suppress it, but it kept trying to come out. So the tears came, and I patted my face. And silently, I sat there and I said a prayer for them. Because I don't know what they're going through. I looked around. People in this grieving don't always look like they're grieving. I didn't know who it was. I didn't know if somebody had passed by me, the cooks in the front, the waitress. I don't know, but I just said a prayer. God, you know who this is, but I don't. Whatever they're going through, they are already here. Let them know it's going to be okay. And let them find peace for the day. I said for the day because tomorrow's not promised to anybody. So for right now, while they're grieving, while they're hurting, give them peace. You know why I did that? Because it's the relationship. And God says, love one another. Pray for one another. Not judge. Not condemn. Not destroy. A lot of souls aren't lost because God isn't real. They're being lost because people claim him but don't reflect him. My mom told me today when I was telling her I was doing this live, she said, that reminded me when I went to a church. She said, I had a bad day. I had a bad morning that morning, Andre said. She said, I had to pick up your granny from the airport. Her plane was late. She said, I already wasn't feeling good. I had to get her, drop her off. She said, but I said, I'm going to go to church. She said, I remember talking to one of my friends. She was like, won't you just go home? She said, no, I'm going to go to church. So she got to the church. The lady said, oh, yeah, and by the way, church started at 10 p.m. And she said, if you know the morning I had, ma'am, you wouldn't even say that to me. I said, I wouldn't even say that because if you were at a relationship of God, you would have said, hey, sister, I'm glad you made it. Doesn't matter what time I walked in there. No matter what I came in there looking like. No what I came in there smelling like. Hey, sister, or hey, brother, I'm glad you made it. See, that's relationship because they're looking bypass your flesh and speaking directly to the spirit and seeing that. Religion only focuses on flesh. I guarantee you right now, a crackhead that smell like whatever can walk into a church today's time and get turned back around. I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know, baby, you can't be here. Why can't I be here? This is God's house. Yeah, but not looking and smelling like that. And y'all wonder why I say religion is driving God's people away from him. They're not reflecting him. They're not leaving God. They're leaving the misrepresentation. They're leaving the hypocrisy. They're leaving the judgment. They're leaving the lack of love. And y'all are the most deadly, the religious people, because you're doing it all in the name of God. This is the very thing that Jesus preached against. And y'all, the religion is the very thing that's keeping this here. You know, I said I'm going to touch on this, but I'm going to touch on it. I touched on it a little bit earlier. I said it, I'm going to say it again. I say I won't say it again, I'm going to say it. When I see it going across my timeline, Pastor Bryant's wife, who looked gorgeous, stunning, beautiful, to look at all the religious people talk about her. Oh, you the first lady. You ain't supposed to dress like that. Baby, God didn't give no dress code. As I said earlier, God didn't have no dress code. Oh, you supposed to be protecting your wife. How he wasn't protecting his wife? Because if he was Shaquille O'Neal that came in looking like that, oh, girl, you look good, girl. Where you get that dress from? But because he's called to preach a word, which is a job, and God gave him that job. Sometimes God give him jobs. Sometimes humans give themselves their jobs. I don't know which one it is. But like I said, I like the way he delivers his sermons. But I can't speak on that. But when God puts you in a position to deliver his word, you're just doing that. Just no different from when a judge get the position to rule against somebody's life. I take that back. It's a wrong analogy. Just like a doctor. Let me say that. A doctor. You get hired to be a doctor. Leave it at that. The judges really be 100 to life. Like, isn't that life? Like, but the judgment, if you look at all the contents of judgment, those are the ones you can see that's religion-based. They have no relationship. Because if nothing she's doing external outside of looking at wearing a nice dress and looking nice is wrong, and her character, her behavior, her actions is of God, then what's the problem? Y'all focus on the wrong thing. We don't have uniforms. We came to this world butt, booty, ball, naked. Don't know. Look, I'm gonna tell you, ladies, this. I'm gonna tell you, ladies. Let me say this. Let me say this really good. Let me say this one time really good. Don't no man want something that another man don't want. And if the man don't want you dressing up and looking good, it's because, baby, he's trying to control you. And he's a narcissist. And he's probably abusive. And you need to run far, far, far away from him. But a real man don't want nothing. A real healed man, confident man, secure man don't want nothing another man don't want or want to look at. Religion is ruining relationships with God, especially with the people who don't know him. Religion having you thinking that you got to come one way. You can't come to God unless you fully together. That's not true. God is the one to get us fully together. He's the one to transform the hearts. If I was out here selling drugs and I've developed a relationship, he's going to change me. You know why? Because he's not going to condemn me. He's going to say, why you out there slinging crack on the corner? He'll say, let me talk to you for a second. Baby girl, let me show you what I have for you. Read this word right here for me. Let me show you what I could do for you. You ain't got to do this. I know Satan telling you this is what you got to do to feed your family, baby. You ain't got to do that because I'm going to bless you. Well, I'm going to take you, baby. You're going to feed families. You know, I always said, if I was to really just preach, I would be so, I would start the gathering, because I wouldn't call it a church. It wouldn't be a church because it wouldn't be confined to a space and 4 walls. It would be out in the open because God is everywhere. Church is everywhere that God is. It would be an open space where you would play music. Walking in, you would have your mimosas. And I can say sidebar, I can always tell somebody who don't read their Bible for themselves, because they'll say something like, oh, pastor over there drinking, not pastor over there drinking, girl. Oh, girl, I don't want him to preach with me back. Why? The Bible clearly says to drink but not to be drunk. God said you couldn't indulge. He said just don't be drunk. You read your Bible religious one, you will understand that. But I said we would have nice little mimosas. We would have Marvin Sapp playing on the remix. Never, 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 never could have paid. I'm telling you, right, that's my yo. Let me tell you, when I used to, I don't club no more like I used to, but I used to be in the club. They don't play that when it's time, the time for you to go. I used to be in that crunk, but it reminded me when I was growing up with Kurt Franklin, and how he actually got the kids that wanted to listen to gospel music because he added that hip hop to it, and us kids was like, oh, I can relate to this, but actually it brought us closer to God. But anyway, I said I would have something like that, and they could then get out there real raw and uncut, and everybody would be invited. The crackheads, the prostitutes, the sinners, the tax collectors, everybody, because this is God's relationship. It wouldn't be no getting on the pulpit talking about who's gay, who has on a man purse, who got on tight skinny jeans. You know how that bad that pisses me off for y'all to be right there being the sheep behind a shepherd who just is lost as I don't know what, the blind leading the blind. You hear people in the background, amen, pastor, wearing that. Like, you spend a whole hour in church condemning, and you wonder why souls are lost. You wonder why people are walking away. You wonder why the church's numbers is not as high as it used to be. Then I remember one of the churches, I think it was Shirley Caesar Church, I'm mistaken, in Raleigh, North Carolina, had an ATM in there. Some of these churches, you have to make a certain amount to get in. Where is it of God? When does my income come into part of my soul being saved from internal condemnation? When I can't take that amount of money that I make or give with me. Come on, somebody. Religion is keeping you stuck. Religion is keeping you behind. Religion is keeping you from knowing who God is. And if you don't hear nothing else today through this whole live, please hear this. You got to walk away and unlearn religion to know exactly who God is calling you to be. You can't be in the becoming still being attached to something that ain't of him. That can't go either. Religion cannot go where you're going. Because God need an open heart. He need a heart that is really ready to be transformed. He needs a mind who is ready to be set on him. He needs actions that display his of love and kindness and patience. He need words that's going to reflect him, saying when somebody says, look at her ill, they respond back, and she's beautiful. Oh, she broke. Well, I'm going to pray for her bank account to overflow. Oh, he homeless. Well, I'm going to help him get a home. God needs people that reflect his actions. And I'm going to tell you something right now. For everybody who is out there trying to be flawless, God can't use you because you're pretending. God will take a used and abused person who went on the journey for healing in a relationship that has a testimony than somebody who's pretending like nothing ever happened. See, God is using me because I don't care what none of y'all say. He done took me through there. And on the other side, I came out okay. I done been through the fiery furnace and didn't have a burn on my body. Literally, I fell in the furnace and I no burn on my body. That's literally, he's on kept me for so long. When I wanted to commit suicide, it was that relationship. And check this out, I was 8 years old. That was in the 90s. And God said, no, I can't let that happen. It wasn't religion. Religion, I would have been out of here. It was the relationship. And I need all of y'all to find the relationship. Let go of what you was marinated in. Unlearn it, because that's not of him. Religion today is no different than the Pharisees that was walking where Jesus was walking. I need you to know that. You can call yourself a Muslim, a Christian, whatever you want to call them. Okay, that's fine. Call yourself, that's fine. You still need to focus on relationship. It's fine to say I'm a Christian who has a relationship with God. Because it's not because it's the religious people who pull you away from your relationship and your calling and your becoming. You can't be a butterfly until you unlearn what needs to be unlearned in order so you can grow. Until next time, keep becoming. I love you all.